Roll call.
Time is 7:02 p.m. Anderson. Arakaki. Absent. Ka'alam. Absent. Clark. Absent. Conley.
Here.
Ferguson.
Here.
Fitch. Glenn. Iga. Imamura Uru. Absent. Oh, she online? Nope. Maeda is online.
Yes.
Mizusawa. Suji. Just arrived. Wood.
Here.
Chair, you have quorum with 10 members present.
Awesome. Okay, great. Okay, city reports. Honolulu Fire Department. Thank you for showing up. You guys are going to be busy here soon.
Very welcome.
Yeah.
Hopefully not, but we'll see. Can you guys hear me? Oh. Hey. Hello, everybody. I'm Firefighter 1 Mike Nojo, ʻAiea Fire Station Engine 10. We have the statistics for February. For fires in February, we had 1 structure fire. We've had 0 wildland or brush fires, 2 nuisance fires, 0 cooking fires, and 6 activated fire alarms with no fire present. For other emergencies, we have had 118 medical emergencies, 0 motor vehicle collisions with pedestrians, 4 motor vehicle crashes or collisions, 0 mountain rescues, 0 ocean, and 1 hazmat incident. Again, these details, you can find more on our website, fire.honolulu.gov, if you need any more information. And the fire safety tip this month is about smoke alarms. So we have your smoke alarms save lives and are an important part of a fire escape plan. Properly installed and maintained smoke alarms give occupants early warning to get outside quickly. Smoke alarms should be installed in every bedroom, outside each separate sleeping area like a hallway, and on each level of the home. Test smoke alarms at least once a month by pushing the test button, and replace all smoke alarms when they are 10 years old or stop responding when tested. And that's all I have for this. If anyone has any questions for us.
Okay. Board members, any questions for, sorry, ma'am, hold on just for a second. Board members, any questions for Honolulu Fire Department? Okay, nothing heard. Community members, ma'am, go ahead.
It doesn't say if it was a business or residential. If you want to know, we can find out. We can look on our reports, and we can get back to you if you're willing to leave your information with us.
You can leave it with me, and then I can communicate it next
You guys
month.
can call or email us.
Yeah. Or you can leave with Curtis too. So, okay. All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Okay. Honolulu Police Department. Are they on?
Yes. All right. Aloha. Lieutenant
Aloha.
Tony Hong, representing HPD. So going over the stats, February compared to January. For February, motor vehicle thefts, there were 3 compared to 7. Burglaries, there were 3 and 3 in January as well. Thefts, there were 16 compared to 22. And car break-ins, there were 6 compared to 7. Total calls for service for February were 1,219 compared to 1,261. In the area of Kilinoy Street in ʻAiea. On February 28th at about 8:30 in the morning, 78-year-old female resident noticed a hole on her exterior wall of her unit, which resembled a bullet hole. Officers were called, and through investigation, they found what appeared to be a full metal jacket round laying on the floor of her bedroom. The female related that she did not notice the damages the day prior, but did not hear or see anything suspicious. So the case is pending as a reckless endangering first. So that one is kind of weird, but it's just a kind of a heads up. Just be aware of your surroundings. If you hear something weird or see anything suspicious in the neighborhood, always good to jot down license plates and even times and They did have a neighbor with surveillance, but that neighbor, I don't think, was able to recover anything, and the time element was unknown. That's about all I have to share for today. If you have any questions.
All right, board members, any questions?
Hi, sir.
Yes.
Couple things. Number one, I've been reading in the paper more than once already. Charges being pressed, after there's an arrest, charges being pressed by the police. And it seems like it's an undercharge, just one today was one, somebody shot it in the leg or something. But the charges were robbery and not attempted murder. I think I saw one the other week, something like that, where
089-143-089.
So
And-
normally how the
and why,
process.
and why is it always a second degree murder when there is a charge of murder? Why isn't it first? Especially when the guy goes into an ex's home with a gun, ends up shooting her. And
Yeah.
it's not a first degree.
Yeah, I'll try to touch on it as best I can. So normally, I work at the patrol level. We try to classify cases at the highest offense. So whatever the highest offense in which
Yes.
first degree murder, there are certain criteria such as law enforcement officer, judges, in prison. So if that person doesn't meet that criteria, they cannot be charged with first degree murder. So it would be second degree. However, charges are determined by the prosecutor's office. So we could arrest somebody for attempted murder in the second degree, but when it goes to the prosecutor's office, they determine the final
They-
charge. So if it's downgraded to a robbery first, then that would be the prosecutor's decision, not the police.
Well, can they upgrade it?
They can also go the other way. So say there was a fight at a beach park and then police arrested a suspect for assault in a third degree, which is a misdemeanor. However, that person goes to the hospital and they realize they have a broken bone, broken orbital or something like that. Then prosecutors can upgrade it to a felony based on the decision by the doctor determining injury, because a broken bone would cause the offense to be a felony instead of a misdemeanor. So it can go both ways, but charges are ultimately determined by the prosecutor's office.
Okay, and one other issue, it's a parking issue, illegal parking in the neighborhood and stuff. I called Pro City Police Department because I figured you guys would be the ones monitoring this area in ʻAiea. But they said to call 911 and just register a non-emergency call, and then, so I did. But
Mhm.
I'm not sure, is that ultimately get back to Pro City and the guys go out and check it or what?
Yeah, so normally we're not able to dispatch officers. So the way to dispatch an officer if you need would be to call 911. But there's also online reporting for maybe things like parking, that it goes through the online system and then it gets to patrol officers, but that's more timely. So if you need somebody to respond right away, calling 911 would be the best option and an officer would be sent when available.
Okay.
Did you want me to try to I could send officers if like say this kind of complaints, then I can go ahead and try to have officers check the area. But if you call the station, they're not gonna dispatch the officers. But if you give me the street or the parking complaint, I can pass it on to the patrol officers to check
Well,
if you
I
want.
did call the 911 line, so
Okay,
I want to see if they respond at least in a reasonable time. Then.
yes,
All right, thank you.
thank you.
Okay, board members, any other questions for HPD? Okay, I do have a couple questions. Halava Housing, has there been any updates to HPD and enforcement over there?
Yeah, so we did make contact with the security that handles Halava Housing. We have their phone numbers and whatnot for mostly trespassing. Because like how I mentioned last meeting, a lot of the incidents involve people from the outside coming in. So
Mhm.
having a better relationship with the security to identify those individuals from the housing helps with alleviating any friction between outsiders and the residents who live there. So that's one step that we have taken to try to alleviate outsiders that don't belong in the housing that often may cause problems with the residents.
And have you noticed a decrease in any incidents over there? I mean, I haven't heard of anything in the last month or so. So I think there
Yeah.
has been a decrease. So
I agree. Because for the
Okay.
month of February, I tried to look for, besides this one that I shared today, which we're not really sure how that happened, but
Right.
there has been any like shootings or anything. Cross
Yeah.
our fingers. Yeah.
Yeah, and I noticed, and I know that the housing office, or the department, I should say, did an emergency, was it an emergency proclamation, Senator? In terms of like enforcing strict rules about family members that are not associated with that are not supposed to be living there, and friends that are not supposed to be living there, or something like that. Yeah, so I think that might be assisting with this effort in terms of ensuring that that people who are not supposed to be on that property are not on that property. So that
Yeah.
might
That seems to
be
go hand
having
in
an
hand with,
effect too.
yeah, that seems to go hand in hand what we're trying to do with the security as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I haven't heard, I've been in contact with the general manager for Pearl Ridge Shopping Center. And I
Mhm.
haven't heard any issues coming out of there either in terms of delinquent, juvenile delinquents, doing any kind of things out of there either as well. So hopefully we keep that up. So let's
Yes.
see how that goes.
I agree.
Okay. I appreciate you guys' hard work on that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Another thing I would do want to point out, there has been some businesses down in Halava Business District about other businesses putting their vehicles out on the street, like just basically filling up the street with their vans and other vehicles. They've been reporting that to me, who I've been reporting it to you. Those businesses do move their vehicles on a regular basis, like within 24 hours. So I know there's not much you guys can do about that. I know you have been trying to enforce the parking rules down there and they continue to move them. So I know there isn't a lot you can do about that. I don't know how to crack that nut. It's real hard for the other businesses to entertain customers and things like that because there is no street parking because some of these other businesses basically eat up the street with their vehicles, their vans, their moving vans, their tour vans, their whatever it is. So I'm not sure what we can do about that. That's not necessarily your problem, but we'll have to figure that out. But I do know that you guys do go down there and enforce the movement of those vehicles. So I
I hear them.
appreciate.
I hear them in that area, like the ʻAiea, that area, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I do appreciate the fact that you guys do go down there and make them move it an inch.
I know.
So
That's an unfortunate loophole, right, with the
Yeah.
abandoned vehicles.
yeah. So again, thank you guys for doing that as well. So that could be a real pain. Okay. With that, I'm open up to community. Anything for HPD? Okay, nothing heard. All right. Thank you. Thank you for everything you do. And I know you guys are going to be busy in the next few days too as
Yeah.
well. So
We will.
good luck.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. All right. Let's move on. Board of Water Supply.
Good evening, Chair Wood, members of the ʻAiea Neighborhood Board, and members of the community. I have a couple of things to share with you folks tonight. There were 3 main breaks that occurred in this neighborhood board district last month. There was an 8-inch main break. Actually, this main break occurred exactly 1 week apart. So it occurred on February 10th and February 17th. This was at 981404 Ka'onohi Street in Pearl Ridge. And then there was a 16-inch main break on Halava Valley Street. This is in the Halava industrial area. And that was February 24th. As far as general water announcements goes, we'd like the neighborhood board members and the community to join the Board of Water Supply as we recognize World Water Day. What it is it's an annual United Nations observance to raise awareness about the 2.2 billion people living without access to safe water. This year's theme is Where Water Flows, Equality Grows. And why it matters is the global water crisis affects everyone, but women and girls often carry the heaviest burden when safe water and sanitation aren't available. And did you know that more than 1 billion women still lack access to safely managed drinking water? So throughout the month of March, and especially on March 22nd, check out our social media pages and our website at boardofwatersupply.com/WWD for World Water Day for inspiring stories and videos about the global water crisis. Water is a finite resource, so let's make every drop count. And that's it as far as my report goes.
All right, thank you, Tracy. Board members, any questions for Board of Water? Okay, nothing heard. Community members, any questions? Okay, nothing heard. All right, thank you for your report. Much appreciated.
Thank
Okay, let's move on to elected officials. Mayor's office. Okay, let's move on. Councilmember Cordero's office.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. I think my video might be a little bit laggy, so is it looking okay or no?
No, but go ahead and continue.
Okay.
We can hear you. We can hear your voice. So go
I'm
right
gonna
ahead.
turn off my video so that my audio doesn't maybe cut out. Okay.
Yeah.
So, aloha Chair Wood and board members. My name is Sherry, and I'm reporting tonight on behalf of Councilmember Cordero. And as you may know, Councilmember always tries her best to make it to this board meeting, but unfortunately for this week, Councilmember is unable to attend her evening meeting, so she sends her regards and wishes she could be here. But first up on the report, we have information about the ʻAiea 311 app. It's a non-emergency request platform. And if you're not familiar, there's information listed on the first page. And she had an info briefing in her last committee meeting with a presentation and demonstration of how the public can put in requests on their own. Speaking of ʻAiea online services, we have ʻAiea alerts as well with the upcoming storm rolling in. It's important to stay informed with immediate updates shared by our Department of Emergency Management. And there's information listed there on how to prepare for a storm and how to remain safe during. And then there's a community update on parking related to Pamoho Place. And then page 3, there is a reminder that city ordinance established a reduced speed limit of 20 miles per hour in school zones. So please drive safely, always follow speed limits, especially in our school zones, because it is 20 miles per hour. And then page 4 has listed a list of newly designated on-leash parks. So if you're a dog owner, feel free to take a look at that. Page 5 has the schedule and more detailed information about our city's fiscal year 2027 budget as it is in full swing. As of this weekend, there are some community events that Councilmember attended on 6th page. And to close it off, there is a flyer to promote the Pearl Harbor Bike Path cleanup happening next month on the 18th. And our office will be participating, but we are still working on the location that we will be attending. So if you plan to join the cleanup crew, do reach out to our office and we can also connect you with stormwater. And I'm here to take back any questions and comments.
Okay, thank you. Board members, any questions for the council member's office? Okay, nothing heard. All right, community members.
Thank you,
Okay,
Chair.
all right, nothing heard. Thank you so much. All right, moving on. Where's my list here? Okimoto, Councilmember Okimoto's office.
Aloha, Chair Wood, members of the
Aloha.
board and the committee. Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. Aloha, everyone. Aloha, ahi. Good evening, Chairwood, board members, and the community. I just wanted to hop on here. First off, I wanted to acknowledge Jocelyn for her excellent work for dropping off the newsletters to you guys so that you guys get it on time before the meeting. And then there's a couple of things that is happening this week. So for council, it's a big week this week. The announcement was earlier this month, Mayor Rick Blangiardi introduced the city's proposed 5.9 billion budget for fiscal year 2027. While the numbers may seem large, the focus is simple, making sure core services continue running smoothly, from trash collection to park maintenance to public safety and reliable transportation. While the mayor proposes the initial budget, the city council's review is where the real work begins. Over the past several months, the council will be examining the budgets for every department line by line to ensure taxpayer dollars are spent responsibly and that the investments supports neighborhoods across Oahu. And because Councilmember Okimoto is a chair of budget, she's basically in every single meeting for this whole week. And also our offices are just standing by to collect information. So right now the budget snapshot looks like the total budget is $5.9 billion. Operating budget is $3.97 billion. And capital projects is $1.1 billion. And that's what the breakdown is at the moment. And then, of course, this week from Monday, March 9th through Friday, March 13th, it's the budget briefing week. The city and county departments are presenting all their budgets for fiscal 26 to 27 year. If you would like to watch these meetings or any kind of past recordings that has happened since Monday, you want to go to www.honolulucitycouncil.org/meetings. And it's really interesting to just watch, to basically watch what has been going on and what's being allocated to different kinds of departments. And so I would highly recommend everybody to just, stay online, or if you guys want to testify, that's great, to get involved. There was some follow-ups from last month. A community member asked, what are the charge fees for services that will be charged for non-mandated services by the medical examiner? So basically, non-mandated services for the medical examiner's office are those that often provide to aid in death investigation processes or to assist the public, are not strictly required by state of law. These services are typically performed at the decision of the medical examiner based upon available resources or provided as a community service. Some examples of non-mandated services often include the following: accommodation of family wishes. While not legally required, the office may try to accommodate requests to forego an autopsy or to align with religious beliefs if it does not violate the legal obligation to determine the cause/manner of death. Second one would be a non-forensic case consultation, offering consultative expertise on cases that do not technically fall under coroner or medical examiner's legal jurisdiction. And a third one would be advanced imaging extended testing, conducted highly specialized, non-routine or expensive imaging like CT or MRI scans beyond what is needed to determine the basic cause and manner of death, often done to provide more comprehensive information to families or for research. That was the response for that one. I got another one, which is, does the state have an ethics commission office? With all the stuff going on with the state side, where can we go? And at this point, there is a Hawaii State Ethics Commission. There is a department categories of common topics that can assist with questions, and the link is https://ethics.hawaii.gov. So, and then our last one was for the Newtown community. Newtown neighborhood parking lot fence was removed and asked for it to be fixed. The Department of Parks and Recreation on March 2nd has a work order that has been submitted on February 25th, 2026 to replace or repair the fencing. So we should see some some results shortly. And that's all I have for tonight. If there's any questions, I can take it back to the office.
Okay, thank you.
Mahalo.
Board
Mhm.
members, any questions? Mr. Higa.
I was looking at your budget breakdown. What
Mhm.
is included in the debt service? That's 18.26%.
Let's see. So let me, I know the newsletter just came out an hour before I came home. So I would have to double check with you and then I can get that information back to you.
Thank you.
Yep, absolutely.
All right. Any other questions? Okay, nothing heard. Online? Curtis? Okay. All right, community members, any questions for Councilmember Okimoto's office? All right, only one question. All right. Thank you, ma'am, for your report.
Sure. Okay, mahalo. And I'll be online for the rest of the evening.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Thank you. All
Mhm.
right. Governor Green's office. Nothing? Okay, moving on. Senator Wakai. I'm sure there's nobody on. Okay. Senator Elefante. Howdy. Hey, how's it going?
Howdy and aloha.
Aloha.
Great evening, Chair Wood, and Vice Chair Mizusawa, members of the board and the public. Chair, thank you so much for readjusting your agenda. We really appreciate that. And consideration.
Anything for you, Senator.
And consideration for some
Yeah.
of the days that we do have during session. So we really do appreciate that. First off, I just want to note for the board members and the general public, you do have my recent newsletter. So I've circulated that. You do have that. Kayla Okamura from my staff who's online, she will be submitting that news report in the chat for those that are online that can see that. And so just to highlight a few things on my report, we were fortunate to have Bishop Eric Matsumoto, I should say, from ʻAiea Hangwanji do our moment of contemplation before the Senate at one of the days. So we're grateful for him. So that's featured on the front of the report. And then you'll also see a list of some of my priority bills. Today was a big vote for both the House and Senate. The Senate heard close to over 250 bills on third reading. So what's listed on there is some of the highlights of some priority bills. Not all the bills that I've introduced, unfortunately, have passed, but I have a total of over 12 bills that have crossed over to the House for further consideration, dealing with either traffic safety, consumer protection, dealing with education in schools. So more of that you can find online on our website. In addition to that, what's not listed on the report is I also just want to highlight Claire Tamamoto. Claire is a recent nominee or renomination to the Stadium Authority Board for the ʻAiea community, and her nomination was reported out of one of the committees, so it's being considered for full consideration before the Senate for a final vote. So thank you to Claire for her leadership and being involved with the stadium as we go through the process of redevelopment in that area. And speaking of stadium, if any of you are interested in the Aloha Stadium redevelopment, there will be a joint hearing before the Senate tomorrow at 2 p.m. Unfortunately, public testimony won't be taken, but there will be a presentation from the Stadium Authority, new Aloha Stadium, Stadium Entertainment District, as well as the Aloha Stadium Development Partners to present their updated plan. So that's tomorrow, 2 p.m. in the Senate, and you could just Google it or go to the Capitol website and find more information on that. Also, too, we've recognized Sean Morishige as one of our healthcare heroes. Sean is a nurse from ʻAiea, and so we're grateful to recognize him and his leadership for all that he's done in his capacity as a nurse. And then finally, one thing I do want to mention is in my opening line, in my opening message, there is a link to vacancies for our state. Just for the folks here in the room to know that an average rate of vacancy at our state level is actually 24%. And one thing that we're doing, and as chair of the Labor and Technology Committee, is we're looking at how do we reduce those vacancy rates? How do we recruit people? How do we retain people? And how do we promote good civil service jobs? And part of that is also looking at a study that's being conducted by the Department of Human Resources to look at prices and classifications on some of the civil service positions so that we can recruit and compete with the private sectors. So if you know any recent grads or people that want to work in state government, we definitely welcome that because we do need a lot of people to make sure that government functions. And with that, I'm sorry again for missing last month's meeting, but I'm happy to take any questions. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Board members, any questions for the senator?
Yeah,
Oh,
sure.
Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, my first question's, Senator, the unfilled vacant positions. My concept is that the budget is made with money set aside for those positions. So what happens to that money when the position is not filled?
Yeah, so good question, Board Member Glenn. So what we've been finding out is that departments and agencies can use some, as long as they have a price and classification for that position, they have funding that's in the budget. We're in a supplemental year. So this is the second year of the biennial. And part of that is the departments, if they are not able to fill, and there could be various reasons. It could be not having an applicant that meets the minimum qualifications. It could also be maybe they weren't able to find someone, or maybe the pay scale is too low. There could be various reasons. So if they don't fill that, the agencies are able to utilize their funds. They could use it in a way based on their rules and guidelines and what they're able to do, use it in a way where they can either use it for other positions, use it to help achieve more within their department. But there have been some vacancies that have been more than 5 years. And so the Senate has several bills that are moving, that's actually passed today, that has moved over to the House to consider looking at vacancies over 5 years and looking at possibly abolishing those vacancies, or the price and classification study that DHERD will do will hopefully help that for some of those positions that may be vacant.
Yeah, I guess my concern is that that money that's not used for the position is used as a slush fund with no responsibility for how and where it's spent. It just kind of goes into a black box, and we really don't know what it's being used for.
Yes, and so I share that concern with you, Board Member Glenn, and I think that's why on the Senate side and what we've seen is we're looking to sort of crack down on some of that, understanding each department's needs and responsibilities for wanting to still hold on to those positions. But I think part of that is they also have to do an active and engaged approach to recruit people, hire people. But I really do feel, I think with that study coming on board, we'll get a better picture of how we can help shape some of those vacancies to address that. But it is a concern that departments don't use it for what it's intended to.
Paul, you got another one?
Yeah, a different
Yes.
question. I'm concerned about the Senate Bill 2353, I believe, which is the digital signage for the new Aloha Stadium Entertainment District. I think it was passed out of committee. And I'm concerned that it's essentially a end run around the billboard. And it could be even worse by anyone who's been to Vegas knows the digital signage can be really obnoxious. And I think that having the digital signage at the new Aloha Stadium Entertainment District goes contrary to what Hawaii wants to have as far as not having billboards.
Yes, thank you, Board Member Glenn, for sharing that. So the Senate did take that up today. I voted in support, however, with reservations. And part of the reservations that I have with that is the same reservations that you have. It still has a long way to go. Still has to go through the House and numerous hearings. You're not the only one that has shared that concern, with the concern that if we open this up, will that be an avenue for a proliferation of outdoor billboards and signs? In conversations that I've had with Executive Director Mike Yadal, who's the new Stadium Authority Director, the intent, I think, is to look at signage sort of internally within the stadium district, and not so much kind of what you see in the Ninth Island in Vegas in that sense. But obviously we have strict laws in place for various reasons, which keeps our island's beauties intact. And understanding the need for redevelopment, I do have that concern. So we'll monitor the bill as it goes through the legislative process on that.
Is there a reason why they want the signage?
I don't know for certain. What I do know is that could help with sponsorships and partnerships as one part, as some other municipalities or stadium authorities have done. But we're unique, right? We're in Hawaii, so there's a little different approach in how we do things. But that is one part of it.
So they want something like a Staples Center kind of thing? Is that what we're talking about here?
It could potentially be something like that. It could be other types. It depends on what the Stadium Authority and community come together with and putting those safeguards in place. But if you do have concerns like Board Member Glenn raised, I would encourage you and what he mentioned on Senate
mean,
Bill
just curious-
2353.
Just curious of what we're talking about here, because are we talking about like are we talking about like a Staples Center or like I don't know, a Shea Stadium or something like that, or are we talking like I don't know, like something in Tokyo, right? You know what I mean? I mean, or are we talking like something in Vegas?
Yeah.
You know?
So I think if I may just finish what I was sharing earlier,
Yeah.
sorry, to respond to your question, Chair. A lot of that is still unknown and what that goes. And so that's why I mentioned what Board Member Glenn brought up.
Yeah.
If you have comments and concerns, I know
Yeah.
you live right there.
Yeah.
And do you want to see something like that or not?
Go to
What kind
Madison
of that,
Square Garden.
or what kind of guardrails? So Senate Bill 2353 is what he
Yeah.
mentioned. And that's something that, we have to get more information on. Certainly for me personally, I don't want to see something that's like a Las Vegas
Mm-hmm.
or something like Tokyo in the Ginza district or
Yeah.
Shibuya, right? I think
Yeah.
we choose to live where we want to live for various reasons, right?
Right.
So I think it's possible, it can be done, but done in a way that's pragmatic, that's not overly like a billboard or a big sign,
All right. Okay. All right.
Yeah. And then for that, I would just mention one final comment. I know Senator Wakai has been diligently working on that project. So if you do have concerns, please do share them with his office as well.
Okay. All right. Any other questions, board members? Okay. I have something. So I guess it was like maybe a week ago, the Pearl City Board was passed a resolution about helicopters. And I know that there was like something, there was a recent fine levied against a helicopter company. They allowed some of the members to jump from a helicopter into water up near 3 tables. Yeah, and so, and they said that was a one-off, but they actually put it in their like ad on a website or something like that. I know that they've recently also have tried to lower their flight elevations, and that went on the news to try to protest, to put out there for public comment to do these kind of things. What if the state can be done to limit some of the helicopter? I mean, we've been dealing with the helicopter stuff for as long as I've been on this board, and at this point, most of the helicopter tour companies are not locally owned. They're mainland owned. I mean, they're hiring. I mean, I guess the employees are local, but they're mainland owned. And so I'm not too sympathetic to them, honestly. And I actually went and like took lessons, not helicopter lessons. I went and took flying lessons. And I talked to like a lot of the academies, the flying, instructor academies. And every one of them told me that the helicopter pilots are just kind of like cowboys out there. And they just kind of do whatever they want. And so I don't necessarily know what the solution is for those guys. What I do know, this audio is kind of getting, but what I do know though is that anybody who lives near a memorial, a monument, a volcano, a waterfall, or any kind of tourist spot is living near, it's like living near an airport. And so something needs to be done. And I don't necessarily know if we can control that at the state level. I know the FAA doesn't care. All they care about is safety. They don't care about noise. And they don't care about the well-being of the people who live in or around, those places that are interested or that have tourists are interested in.
So Chair, for that, that's something we can look into. I know in the past during my tenure on the city council, that issue has come up before, and we've attempted to address that working with our congressional delegation. And
I know I had cases we've been working on it.
so most of as you're aware, right,
Yeah.
in that regulated airspace is usually FAA, but
Right.
we can take a look to see on the state level to see what can be done.
I know that they've tried to regulate it by like having them submit their manifests and things like that, and that got shot down. No pun intended. But yeah, I don't necessarily know what we can do about it. There's got to be something that has to be done, though.
Are you specifically talking more about private tour helicopters or military type?
I'm talking about private.
Private, okay.
I can understand the military side. I get that. Okay. But the private side, yeah, the private side, definitely needs to be something that needs to be, they need to be reined in. We've had them come in front of this board and there's no hubris with them. They are just like, we will do what we want to do. And there's nothing you can do to stop us. I mean, that's their attitude. And they don't care. So, but there definitely needs to have something needs to be done with that. And Pearl City recognizes it, and we've recognized it in the past. We just need, I think it's time for us to try to wrangle them back in again. So I'm going to bring it in front of this board again next month. And we're going to basically copy the same resolution that the Pearl City guys, Pearl City board approved. We're going to put it up for vote next month. I'm going to submit it to the North Shore folks. I'm sure they're going to probably approve the same thing because they run into the same issues we do. I'm sure Diamond Head's going to run it and they're going to approve the same thing. So, it's everybody who deals with a tourist situation is going to run, approve the same thing because they all deal with that. They live in under an airport, basically.
No, and I share your frustrations. I've dealt with
Yeah, I know.
late night helicopters and whatnot. So I know it impacts sleep and people's livelihoods. So we'll take a look at it on the state side and we can get back to you.
Yeah, I don't get it because the regular commercial planes, and I'm eating into my time here, I know this, but this is important to me. The regular commercial planes have a flying limit, like it's like 1,500 feet. And I don't understand why the helicopters are less than that. Like, why don't they fly at 1,500 feet? If they did, this wouldn't be an issue. They'd be high enough to where it wouldn't impact the communities, but they're not, So I take my little golf laser that I use for flags, to spot
The rangefinder.
the rangefinder.
Yes.
And I go out there and I'm like, and I nail them with it, and they're like at 700 feet, 600 feet. They're below the flying, what they're supposed to be flying at. So I don't understand how they can get away with it. So I don't know. Yeah. Anyways, okay. Well, enough of that. So off my soapbox. Community members, any questions for the senator? Okay. Nothing heard. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Have a good evening,
Okay,
everyone, and please
same to
stay
you.
safe.
All right.
Yep.
All right. Moving on. Representative Ichiyama's office. Nothing heard? Oh, there she is.
Hi.
Okay. All right.
Hi, good evening, board committee members. Jen Elizondo, legislative aide on behalf of Representative Ichiyama. Just wanted to highlight a couple things on this month's community update. Rep. Ichiyama had a couple events with the Keiki this month. For example, field trips at the Capitol, and then she also did a read aloud at Makalapa Elementary School. And then on the reverse side, you can take a look at that. There's going to be 2 upcoming events at Bradford High School. One being a Mamma Mia, and another is a Ramtastic Fair. Both open to families, so yeah, you guys can check that out too. And if you have any questions for Rep. Ichiyama, please let me know and I'll relay them to her.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Nothing heard? Community members, any questions? Nothing heard. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Representative Shimizu.
Hi, my name is Kara England, and I tried my my lights went off, so I think it made my phone kind of wonky due to the storm. So I'm gonna have to keep my video off if that's okay. But I am
That is perfectly fine. We can hear your voice. You're okay. You got a nice voice anyway, so it's
thank you.
fine.
Okay, good evening, Chairwood and members of the board. Thank you for the opportunity to provide a brief update on the behalf of Representative Garner Shimizu. I'm currently his legislative aide. Okay, so as we're approaching the midpoint of the legislation session, the representative asked me to share a few updates from the Capitol. This session, he has introduced legislation focused on expanding inmate workforce reentry training and a proposal related to a homeless sanctuary pilot program. He's also signed on to measures supporting civic education and extending the time for prosecution of campaign spending violations. And in the district, the office has been happy to welcome a number of students visiting the Capitol recently, students from Moanalua Middle School, members of the Hawaii State Student Council came down to learn about how the legislative process works and to meet the legislatures. Also, Representative Shimizu also continued attending community events in the district, including the Central District Honor Orchestra concert and recognizing long-term Salt Lake ʻAiea Manu neighborhood board member Chandra Kanemaru for her more than 17 years of service and leadership supporting Operation Clean Sweep for the Salt Lake Waterway. We also have our March 2026 newsletter if any of you are interested. So at this time, if you have any questions or any kinds of concerns, I am here to take them for you, to take them back to the office so that we can figure it out.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Okay, nothing heard. Community members, any questions? All right, nothing heard. Thank you so much. Much
Thank you
appreciated.
much. Aloha.
Aloha, Representative Kong's office. Okay, nothing heard. Representative Case's office or Congressman Case's office. All right, nothing heard. Okay, moving
Excuse
on.
me, Chair. It's
Yes.
Janelle from the
Oh,
governor's
hey,
office.
there you are.
I have all kinds
Governor
of
Green's
technical
office.
problems. I had all kinds of technical problems, sorry. But I was listening. Yeah, I got a few things to mention.
Okay, go ahead.
At the last meeting, concerns were brought up about violence at the public housing areas.
Yes.
And we asked whether the residents can be evicted for criminal behavior. I checked with the Hawaii Housing Authority and just so happens the board approved new emergency rules last month in February.
Saw that.
Which details the circumstances where residents may be evicted for things like threatening health and safety of other residents, criminal activity on the property, illegal drug use on the property, and if a family member is convicted of a felony during the term of their tenancy. So there was a lot. They were very detailed. So Curtis did drop the minutes of that meeting in the Google Drive. So if you want to look at what
and so far it seems to have helped because we haven't had any incidents, repeat incidents in the last month.
The rules are not in effect yet. The governor has.
At least the messages got out.
Yeah. So they can be evicted.
Yeah.
Other than that, the governor's March newsletter is also in the Google Drive. There is an article on the Aloha La Hale Wiliko, the 140 unit affordable housing unit for Kupuna that was built on the former ʻAiea sugar mill site. Other than that, the state tax department wants residents to know that there are changes in the U.S. Postal Service procedures for filing tax returns. So the Postal Service now postmarks mail with the date that it is processed at the postal facility, not the date it was placed in the mailbox. So their suggestion is to mail early, at least 5 to 7 days before the deadline. And if not, if you can't make that deadline, use the U.S. Postal Service retail counter and request a manual postmark or send it by certified mail or priority mail, and file electronically if possible. So that's it. Happy to take any questions.
Okay, anything for Governor Green's office? All right, nothing heard. Committee members, anything? Oh, Mr. Higa.
A question on the proposed tax cuts that were pulled back. What is the status of that? Because, as far as the state, Hawaii is the highest tax state in the nation. And personally, I was looking forward to all these tax cuts because I'd be getting a refund, but now I'm not. But is there any way that the state can work some numbers and do something else, tighten their belt, so they could give all of the citizens of Hawaii, the taxpayers, some kind of tax cut?
I believe they're still working out the details. Maybe our state legislators can explain more. It's not certain, not that I saw that the cuts will not be effective, but they're talking about it. So I don't have detailed information, but I think they're still trying to work it out.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? All right, nothing heard. Okay, thank you for
Thank
your
you.
report. All right, much appreciated. All right, moving on to community reports. ACA, Claire? No? Okay. All right, Hawaii State Department of Health. I think they just posted the
Hi.
question. Oh,
Good evening, Chair Wood.
Good evening. Hi.
Hi, thank you everyone for having us again this month. I wanted to, we have submitted very detailed responses to all the questions that we have received to date. Board members, you will find that in your board's Google Drive. But I did want to just go over some things that have been particular areas of board concern. So first, regarding police presence, CAMD consulted with HPD Lieutenant Iwasaki just to review what the neighborhood police response has been, to get the data and to get some accurate information about what's been going on. So he reported that there have been a total of 12 calls to the street. He said that 6 of those 12 were related to neighborhood parking complaints, and that the other 6, though confidential in nature, were none that involved any risk to residents in the area. He reported that the last response was on December 2nd, 2025. CAMD also consulted with HPD Officer Doe, who confirmed that marked vehicles are often on site for a youth mentorship program that they're conducting there, and not as an emergency response or because of safety concerns. And so he did note that there are times that marked vehicles are at the house as part of that outreach program. We did ask about the incident that was raised in terms of somebody being escorted out of the program in handcuffs. That incident occurred in October of 2025. It presented no safety risk to neighbors, and that individual is no longer living at that address. Wanted to also just address some of the staffing concerns that were raised regarding the house manager. As I mentioned before, the house does operate on a shift-based system, similar to any treatment facility would, where the team is who provides continuous coverage, as opposed to the program relying on a single individual. And so we had talked about how last time, and while he is live-in staff, he specifically covers the overnight shifts, which accounts for his absences during the day. I also wanted to just address some kind of procedural issues and standards that have been an area of concern. There were questions about the Department of Health procedures for reporting concerns and complaints specific to Title 11, Chapter 98. These Hawaii administrative rules are specific to licensing facilities. which is managed by the Office of Healthcare Assurance, OCA. I'm with the Child and Adolescent Mental Health Division. We're not involved with licensing facilities, although both CAMD and OCA are parts of the Department of Health. So certainly we work together. But I just wanted to confirm for the board that those Hawaii administrative rules that govern concerns and complaints about facility licensure, those have not changed. There have been no changes to the requirements or processes. If the Office of Healthcare Assurance receives a complaint that's not related to facility licensing, so in other words, not something that's in their purview, they will typically send it to us at the Child and Adolescent Mental Health Division to look into. Anything that we receive at CAMD, we bring to these board meetings because these board meetings are really our effort to ensure transparency and to provide all of the requested information in one place so that everybody knows what everybody else is asking and everybody knows what responses they've gotten to date. I did also just want to mention that in addition to that, Sarah Antone, who's the division administrator at Catholic Charities, she has offered over time at different points in time to be a point of contact for concerns and complaints, and has provided her contact information to this board in the past. That's my overview. Happy to answer any questions that folks might have.
So I have one question. So when the HPD does their outreach, is that like a scheduled thing? Is that like something they schedule in advance?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It's part of a program. It's part of their programming. Yeah.
Right. So is it like is it something they do like on the 15th of every month, or is it like the 10th of every month, or the second Tuesday of every month? Is it something like that?
I don't know the schedule, but if you think it would be helpful to get the schedule so folks aren't alarmed when they see a marked vehicle, we can certainly ask for that.
I think that would be very helpful. That way, if the folks around there would know, like on the 15th of every month, the squad car shows up, it's there to do the outreach program and not there to administer law enforcement activity to some resident. That would be extremely helpful.
We can definitely request that from the HPD.
Yes, please. Actually, if you could put that like in a calendar format, like on a PowerPoint slide or something like that, or even as like an Outlook calendar, and then we can put that on the shared drive, that would probably be pretty helpful.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be good. Okay. All right. Board members, any questions? Russell.
You were describing 12 incidences of police incidences.
Hey, speak up on your mic. I can't hear you.
You were describing 12 incidences involving the police. 6 you said were parking related. 6, I didn't hear what you said. Did you actually say involved risk to the community or did not involve risk to the community?
Did not.
Did not. Lieutenant Iwasaki said that they were confidential, so he couldn't share information, but he did say that none of the remaining 6 involved any risk to residents in the area.
Okay, and what about the parking? What was discussed on that? What was the nature of that? What was the result?
I did not get details on the parking. I was just trying to get data from a safety concern perspective about whether or not police calls were the result of incidents that posed a risk to residents in the area. So I did not ask for details about the parking calls.
The one incident that was found to be a risk to the community, was that the
It wasn't a risk to the community.
There was an incident involving brick throwing. That was considered not a risk to the community. Is that right?
Yeah, none of the incidents were considered risk to the community, but one incident was the individual that was in handcuffs.
Correct.
Correct in saying that, correct?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. All right, any other questions? Okay. All right. Okay. Community members, any questions?
Hi, is it on?
Is the mic on?
Yes, we can
Okay,
hear
so
you.
the last time I asked questions about the elopement process, because I did read what you had sent the other month, and it was the same thing as this past meeting. So my questions were specifically, I was wondering about specifics about what you had put down. So is it that there are no specifics about what I asked, like about what if 4 go at one time and there's only 2 aides, and about the boundary was the bottom of Rose Summit, and I said, but there's other areas that they could go to when 911 is going to be called. Are there any answers to those specifics?
So for the elopement procedures, the intent of the procedures, rather than going down every street or possible boundary, really the staff is trying to determine whether or not the youth's intent is to leave the neighborhood. Because if their intent is to leave the neighborhood, then that is when the police are called. So it's not so much about what street or that they go to or don't go to. They're establishing that it is the youth's intent to leave the neighborhood. So it's not specified there, but that is what the policy and procedure is.
So the staff will make a judgment call on that. They'll say like,
correct.
Okay, so it could be a quarter of a mile and the staff will be like, okay, this kid's gonna leave. So we'll call the police. It could be 150 feet and they'd be like, this kid's gonna leave, so we're gonna call the police. That's what you're saying.
They're correct. They're making a call based on what they know about the youth and what has been going on. They're making a determination about what the youth's intent is and at what point they need to call the police.
I think in here it says that if they go to the bottom of Rose Summit, then the police will be called.
Yes, and so because you had asked about the boundaries, we followed up, but really what they clarified is that the intent is they're trying to establish whether or not the youth is trying to leave the neighborhood.
Okay, so and they are specifically trained in that.
Yes, they know the youth very well.
Okay, another document you gave was, you said that in the past 10 years, you listed the incidents. And my question is, what facility is this referring to? Because the one in Royal Summit, we have heard from Catholic Charities is the first and only one of its kind. So you're saying there's past history is this, but we're asking, can you compare that past history to this facility? Because are the facilities exactly the same?
Yes, so Catholic Charities provided this exact same level of care before. They provided it in Nu'uanu, and I believe that Chair Wood and potentially other members of the board actually visited.
It was just me. It was just me.
Oh, just you. Okay. Actually visited the previous neighborhood to get a sense from residents of what their experience was having a special treatment facility in their neighborhood. And there's a document that I believe this is the document that you're referencing that sort of documents all the questions that he asked and the information that he tried to gather from folks that lived near the special treatment facility when it was in Nu'uanu, but it was still Catholic Charities that ran it, and it was the same level of care.
With the same type of residents there?
Yes.
So I'm confused because we were told that this is the first and only one of its kind.
I'm not sure who said it was the first.
I think it was Catholic Charities.
Is that documented somewhere?
The first and only one of its kind. At this level, yes, they did say that. I think we have it somewhere.
Okay, it is the only program that's this level of care. It's this iteration of it is not the first. Them living in Royal Summit is not the first time that they have ever run this program in a residential neighborhood. They previously ran it for 10 years in Nu'uanu. And that's documented. You can look back and see the information that Chair Wood collected on his visit is in your Google Drive.
Okay, we'll check that and see, and look through our documents also.
Was that with the same level of patience, like in this
Yes, it was-
case, having had past history of sexual deviant behavior?
Sexually reactive behavior, yes, it was the same
Sexually
level of care.
deviant behavior specifically is mentioned in the contract. So I'm quoting that. So was the Nu'uanu facility holding male youths up to the age of 19 with a history of sexually deviant behavior?
It was the exact same level of care as what they provide now, yes. Same program.
I'm talking about the care, I'm talking about the patient, the inmate.
She's saying it was the same
It's
level.
the
of care.
same program.
What do you want to hear, Russell? Same level.
Yes,
same level
no,
of care.
they include male youth with a history of sexually deviant behavior living in Nu'uanu. Yes or no?
Yes, sexually reactive behavior, yes.
Reactive.
Yes.
Splitting hairs, Russell. I don't understand what you're talking about here.
Talking about the, well, I'm just saying the book calls for sexual deviant.
Okay.
It
When I went
was
down
the
there-
same
when I went
type
down-
of
hold on,
kids.
Hold on, stop for a second. I'm defending you here. When I
I
went down there and
understand.
talked to the neighbors, they said it was a bunch of teenage boys living in that place. There's a bunch of teenage boys living in this place. What do you want to hear?
Bunch of teenage boys is not the same as teenage boys with a history of sexually deviant behavior.
It's okay. All right, whatever. Okay. I mean, you're splitting hairs here. Okay.
I'm not sure what you mean splitting hairs. Just answer the question.
The answer to your question is yes.
Reactive does not necessarily mean the exact same thing as sexually deviant behavior.
It's the same
It
program.
says past history of sexually deviant behavior, not sexually reactive behavior.
Their admission criteria when they were providing the program in Nu'uanu is the same as the admission criteria that they have for the program here. It's the same program. I hope that helps.
Oh, hi, Kaylee.
Hi.
So, hi. So my question was, yeah, I know that you folks are running a facility in Nu'uanu, but there was also, I believe, a contract. There are 4 contracts for the Nu'uanu property. One was transitional support services. The second contract was transitional family home services. And the third contract was transitional family home services with therapeutic respite home services. And then the fourth contract at that facility was community-based residential too. The contract that you have with the Kekiali'i facility is one contract that is servicing community-based residential to sexually reactive services. If you could verify that for us next time.
Sure. So just to clarify, Catholic Charities, each agency that we contract with, sometimes they will get contracts for different levels of care. It doesn't mean that they're all happening in the same facility. So they did have a contract when the program was in Nu'uanu, they did have a contract for community-based residential, which is the same level of care that they're providing now in Royal Summit. They also have provided transitional family homes. Those are different homes. They're they're people's personal family homes. So those are all over. And transitional respite homes are the same. So usually there's for all of the families who are trained to be transitional family homes. So these are just their family home, and then they're trained to help youth who need high levels of structure and intervention, and those kids live with them and their family wherever their family lives. And the respite homes are typically the same homes, so they provide respite for each other. The transitional support services are not a residential service. Those are additional therapeutic services that get added on to a service at the point that a child is transitioning between levels of care. So say they've been in a community-based residential program, and they're getting ready to step down to a lower level of care, perhaps a transitional family home, perhaps they're going to go home to be with their families. Transitional support services are just extra therapeutic services to help during that transition time. So it's not a residential program.
What's the point of these questions?
Just
No, what's the
clarify.
point of these questions?
The point of these questions is to just see what they were actually running
Why?
because they were for contracts for different services.
I get it, but why?
Okay,
No, please. I'm asking you a serious question here.
I guess because they said that it's
Because, hold on,
the same.
because you've asked this question now for over a year.
Mhm.
Why are you asking this question?
Just to be sure that everything that's been told to us is very transparent. And
Okay, and if they said no, would it make a difference?
I would think so.
How would it make a difference?
I think the
Would it
the
stop
risk-
them from running this facility?
It probably would not stop Catholic Charities, and we do not have the means to stop
Would it make you
them.
feel any better?
I think the safety protocols would probably make me feel better.
Would
If they had-
answering this question make you feel better if you found out that they ran a different facility in Nuanu?
I would think I would want to know,
Okay, but it would make you feel better if you found out that they ran a different
of
facility.
course, because I think it's a risk. So of course,
Would it
if
make a
there's
difference
risk,
today?
it would make me try to understand more of what they were telling us to really all the information that they were relaying us while they were trying to.
But you know what the situation is today.
Yes. So let's go on because
Okay.
this is regarding reporting of complaints of youths unattended, which one took place February 2nd, I believe. February 2nd or February 3rd at 5:45, approximately 5:45 in the morning. And the youth was walking back to the home unattended. And as far as I know, the contract, Kaylee, that is signed between Department of Health and Catholic Charities does not allow a youth to be ever unattended 24/7. So in the morning, this youth was walking from somewhere back to the home. And can you explain what happened? Because I know you folks have commercial grade cameras as well as charm bells on each door. And did somebody not know that this youth was alone?
This.
We did follow up with Catholic. We're aware of that incident. We did follow up
Okay,
with.
so that's what, okay, so before,
Of this form, using this form to report. This is what this form should be reporting.
okay,
Exactly something like that.
okay. So previously, Justin from the Office of Healthcare Assurance that issues the license, in his HARs, they do have a section that has that the public can submit a complaint, which Justin took in when we reported two other incidents where there were unattended youths outside of this home. And now this is the third. And when we tried to report it to Justin again, because we thought that that was a procedure, Justin said, no, the procedure has changed. So Kaylee, can you please, in writing, give us the procedures for us to report when we see an unattended youth walking around the neighborhood, like in
So-
this case, 5:45 a.m. in the morning?
So a couple of things. Thank you for your question. And in the case of that instance, we're aware of that instance. We followed up with Catholic Charities. They followed all of their elopement procedures. They followed all of the rules and standards that we would expect from that situation, and the youth returned to the home without incident. What you're referring to as far as the Hawaii administrative rules is actually what I was referencing at the top of the meeting, which is that the Hawaii administrative rules haven't changed. It's just that what you're reporting is not a licensing issue. And so that is why OCA referred it back to this board. They also at times just refer things directly to us. As I mentioned at the top, we work very closely with them. We're all in the Department of Health, but that's not a licensing issue. And so it's not that the Hawaii administrative rules have changed. It's just he was trying to route your concern to the appropriate venue.
So can you give us instructions on what we're supposed to do when we have information like this? You know, we don't want to violate any of these youth's rights by just sending, you know, because we do have pictures. And so can you tell me where we should be sending this complaint? Or, you know, so that
Action, as I would call it, because at what point does Catholic Charities get held responsible and get fined for, you know, this continuing to happen, right? This is the third time now it's happened. At what point do they pay a penalty for this? That's my question. Right? They have to suffer some kind of penalty for this, I would assume. Do they not? Or do they just keep on letting it happen without suffering some kind of consequence?
Well, our expectation is that they follow their agreed upon policies
Absolutely.
and procedures for when youth elope.
That is right. And if they're not following that, what is the penalty for it? If I have a contract with somebody and they're not following that contract, they have consequences that I can levy against them. What is their penalty when they don't follow the contract?
Well, they have followed the contract to date. There haven't been any instances where they have not done everything
They have
that they
kids
were
wandering the
supposed to
streets
do.
unsupervised. That doesn't sound like to me that they're following the contract.
I wouldn't say with our kids just wandering the streets, but
3 times, right?
you know,
That sounds like to me that there's kids wandering the streets 3 times.
the reason the
Right?
reason there is an elopement policy is because
Uh-huh.
elopements do happen. So totally
Okay.
acknowledge.
How many times does that
Ag-
allowed to happen? 15, 20, 30 before we say, okay, at Catholic Charities, now what?
We do, our program monitoring section does work with programs if they're seeing patterns or issues of concern. If it seems like the program is not able to provide safe environment for the kids or is not monitoring them, we work very closely with all of our programs.
Okay, so what's the penalty? They get a warning?
Well, if we determine that the quality of care is not where we want it to be, then they do have to come up with corrective action plans. They are subject to program monitoring, and so those are kid specific processes. So they're clinical in nature. which is why they're not matters of public record. But our program monitoring staff go to the program, they review all the data, they look at the standards, and if one of our contracted provider agencies is not in compliance with any of our performance standards or our contracts, then they do have to do a corrective action plan. And, you know, depending on the nature of it, obviously, if it's egregious or a serious safety concern, we can hold admissions until we're satisfied that a problem has
And
been
how
rectified.
and how are we tracking that? Who is tracking that?
Our program monitoring section.
Okay.
We
All right.
have a team of staff who are responsible for monitoring all of our CAMD contracts.
Okay. All right. Okay. Any other questions, folks?
Steve, thank you for checking Nu'uanu, but that's why we have concerns, okay? So it's very safe in Nu'uanu. We had a couple of elopement, nothing happened, but your program has been here 8 months and 3.
Well, they had one instance in Nu'uanu, by the way.
Okay, one
Yeah.
incident.
Yeah.
But over
Yeah.
10
In
years.
10 years, they
Yeah,
had
okay,
one
so
instance.
it's
Yeah.
very-
Yeah.
We've been here 8 months and we had 3 police reports.
Yep.
And now we have 3 unattended youth. And this last one,
Mm-hmm.
it seems like he was roaming around, I don't know how long.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we feel unsafe or
Mhm.
not protected. I know the kids are safe, but
My other question is, how did the staff in the facility not know that this youth was not in the house?
They did know, to your earlier comment, there are cameras and chimes. They follow.
Yeah, but are
all
they
of their
supposed to follow
procedures.
the child outside and follow them and bring them back?
They did what they could, and they followed all of their procedures.
But
Well,
nobody was following them.
Again,
Mm.
I don't know. I mean, they walked me through their house. I've been through their house. I've seen the cameras. I've seen the doors on the chimes. They walked me through. I don't know how this kid got out.
so
Again.
either they disassembled or they
Who knows?
found the way how they.
It's all conjecture.
No.
It's all assumption. Who knows how this happened? What I'm more concerned with is, when do you guys enforce a penalty upon them if this continues to happen? That is my concern, because that's the only way they're going to learn to keep enforcement and because if this continues to happen, they're not going to learn until they get nailed with a penalty. And that will be money. They will not learn unless you dock them some money. Huh? I understand that. That's why the only way you're going to hurt them is by hitting them the checkbook. Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, by the way, for taking the brunt of it. I appreciate you. I know you're just a messenger.
Well, not only that, though, if I could just offer, I understand why it makes folks anxious, and I wanted to come every month because I do hope that over time and with information, people do feel less anxious about having this program in their community. And this board is an important partner in making sure that we are doing everything that we need to do, and we do have effective oversight. And so this line of communication is very, very important, and I appreciate the ongoing invitation. I think
And I
it's
appreciate you
all-
being here. And I'm sorry I do have a short temper tonight, but I'm just
No
tired.
problem.
I'm sorry.
Thank
So,
you.
Okay. Let's
Thank
move
you.
on. All
Chair
right.
Wood.
Hawaii Department of Transportation, H-Dot. Okay, great. She's not here. Great. Pro-Ridge Center, he's not going to be here either. So great on that too. Region Hawaii, Closure Task Force, Red Hill. That's such a weird meeting tonight.
Aloha.
Lydia is
Thank you
online.
for your, I'm here. Thanks. I wasn't
Oh.
expecting it to move so quickly there.
Hi, Lydia.
But
How
thank
are
you.
you?
Hi. Yeah, good to see you
Welcome.
all. I didn't also expect this
You're a sight for
backdrop.
sore eyes tonight, let me tell you. So
I
welcome
would be
aboard.
there. I didn't know what was going to happen with the weather, so I
Well,
decided
it looks
to come
beautiful
home
where
and
you're
on
at. It's nice and sunny, so I appreciate
Yeah,
you
doesn't it?
having that background. So
And thanks to all the HPD, HFD, and all the first responders who are getting ready for the weather that's going to hit. I know that the military is also taking precautions as we don't know really what to expect. It's been an interesting winter so far. I sent the report earlier. I'll hit highlights. One is we're excited to announce the first ever Hawaii Navy Week in Hawaii. It started over in Hilo, lots of details on what is happening over there. The Pacific Fleet Band sailors from namesake ships like the Daniel Inouye, USS Pearl Harbor, and others helping with beautification projects, engaging with UH Hilo, other education groups, veteran centers. So really good opportunities and really good outreach happening. And we appreciate the mayor at Hawaii and the mayor here at Honolulu meeting with our sailors and our leadership to talk about the bond and the relationship that the Navy has with Hawaii. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to let me know about what's happening. I also sent the Mo'olelo. We are still doing the monthly ship tours. We're doing the community white boats. Let us know what type of volunteer activities you have. I know that there were some scheduled for this weekend that we had to cancel because of the bad weather, but let us know what you have, from library events to trail and hiking path cleanup. We are more than happy to support. Hopefully you saw in the news about the exercise, which is going to become annual over Lu'ulu'ulei and Kolikoli Pass, and the MOU signing between the Navy, Army, and city, county, and state leaders on making sure that we have a good path for people to use if needed for any type of disaster. That happened the first week of March. Really great response. Really appreciate the community getting involved to help make this happen. Other than that, I think it's a pretty straightforward information about what we have going on. I will hand it over to Joanna to answer any questions, and then I'll be standing by.
Thanks, Lydia. So just a couple of updates for Navy Closure Task Force Red Hill. We are currently pressure washing tanks 3 and 4 at the facility. We finished degassing tank 15 last month, and we're in preparation now to start degassing the next tank. So there'll be a press release that goes out to the media. It'll be on our website as well as our mobile app regarding the next tank to be degassed.
When are we looking at finishing?
Define finishing.
Well, like, I don't know. When can we say like things will be done? I don't know.
Yeah. So if we're talking complete decommissioning of the facility,
Yeah.
per our operational calendar, we're looking at around 2028.
2028. Okay.
Couple years.
And have they started thinking about what they want to do with that facility in 2028?
So that decision is above Navy Closure Task Force. The disposition of the actual tanks will have to be at like the congressional level.
Right.
So our focus, our mission is to decommission, clean the tanks, remove the pipes,
right,
and then close the actual facility itself. So what happens after that is beyond Navy Closure Task Force at this moment.
But is there like a committee or somebody talking about that at this moment?
I'm sure there is, but I can't say for sure who.
Lydia, do you know?
No, but we can check to see. I know that there were several different studies that were done, and there were briefings to Congress, but we'll reach out and find that out and get back to you either before or at the next meeting.
Yeah, because I know about a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago now, I want to say maybe 2 years ago, there was a questionnaire sent to me about like what do you recommend that we do with the tanks once they're like decommed?
Yeah,
right?
it was kind of put out to the community, and like I said, there were a few studies, but the determination, we'd have to get more information on that.
Okay. All right, cool. All right, thank you.
You're
All right, thank you guys. Any questions for them? All right, Lawrence.
Sorry for the same question, but what is the status for reopening that Halava shaft? I know I've been given months like recently and far out, but is anything happening?
Yeah, so right now we're looking at the next step with the Navy ʻAiea Halava shaft is to have Department of Health come out and inspect the infrastructure that's put in place there right now. Once they inspect that and let us know what their findings are, there's a process that has to take place. Once they approve it, then we will request for official reactivation of the shaft. So I know earlier this year we were saying that was looking like we were gonna reactivate the shaft during the first quarter. I know we're kind of past that right now, and so there are still things that we are working with the regulator, with Department of Health on in order to ensure that the system itself is working the way that it's intended to before we reactivate it. So
Oh.
I don't have an exact date yet, but once we get a little bit more fidelity on that, we will keep the board informed.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I got a question. Can one of you comment on the recent announcement by the Navy that what were the impacts to the community and claimants about their recent announcement that the Red Hill water issue was military related?
Oh, I think you're referring to the news story about the effects of on the residents or the consumers, that it was tied to military duty.
Military, the
Yeah.
Navy announced it was.
Yeah. So that is something that is under litigation, so we can't comment on that. I would recommend reaching out to Department of Justice.
All right, any other questions? All right, community members, any questions? Okay, nothing heard. All right, thank you for your report. Okay,
Thank you.
Stadium Authority, New Aloha Stadium Entertainment District.
Hi, good evening, Chair Wood, committee.
Hey, good evening. And I
Hi.
noticed you
Okay.
guys are tearing it down. I saw that it's already started getting torn down. Congratulations.
It is super exciting. I know, lots going on.
Oh,
I will keep this brief. So we will start with swap meet. So this past March 1st, we did our annual traditional lion dance to kind of celebrate Year of the Horse. So that was our exciting way to kind of ring in the new year with our shoppers as well as our vendors. And then keeping on lines with swap meet, we are actually going to be open tomorrow. We are monitoring the weather. So if there are any concerns, we will be making that determination tomorrow morning. So we will be making announcements to the vendors and to the public as well tomorrow. And then we will continue to monitor for the weekend, just depending on how the weather handles for that. We also did receive feedback in regards to trash along Salt Lake Boulevard. So we have informed our ushers. So we will be looking to have that picked up more frequently, as well as the trash bins have been kind of overflowing. So we're going to be doing more rounds of that. So again, if anyone in the community does see more trash, please let us know, and we'll make sure that our ushers are making sure that they kind of pick that up. Then in regards to our stadium events that we have going on, just a heads up, in our upper Halava lot on Thursday, March 19th from 9:30 to 10:30 p.m., the University of Hawaii College of Engineering will be doing some static rocket motor testing. It is just 10 students. They're going to be doing some testing. So you might hear some, they said it's 6 seconds of loud noise. They are just kind of monitoring their engineering skills. They have the time frame between 9:30 and 10:30. We don't anticipate them using the entire time, but we did want to let you know, just in case you do hear some loud noise that is happening there. They are going to be in the upper Halava lot, but it is closer to the freeway side. We are also partnering again with the law enforcement. So we're doing the gun buyback program, which is going to be on Thursday, March 26th, which is the holiday for us. And that will be in Lower Halava Lot from 9 to 3 p.m. This is something that we have been doing with them for the past couple of years now. So we're looking forward to, again, partnering with that. And then, as Chair Wood has mentioned, Hawaiian Dredging has begun dismantling work in our south. We have removed Gate 4 Spiral. Southeast, I believe, was taken down today. So you can kind of watch the progress as they start moving around the stadium. Really exciting for that. They did want you to be aware that they are looking to start work on Saturdays. They were looking at starting this Saturday, March 14th. Again, this is just to kind of stay on schedule. But again, because of the weather, they might not start this weekend. But they are looking to moving forward to be starting on the weekends. So we will be making announcements as well. So we just wanted to give the community a heads up on that moving forward. And again, as always, if you hear anything, see anything, please feel free to let us know. Also, big news, the NACID website that we have been referring to, the NACID .hawaii.gov website has actually merged with the Aloha Stadium .hawaii.gov site. So everything is going to be in one location now, so you can get updates from the current stadium as well as all of the activities for the new stadium. We do have a construction cam that is up and running, so you'll be able to see kind of the progress. We do get daily reports from Hawaiian Dredging, so we are trying to make sure that we post that so the community can kind of track along to see what we're seeing on site as well. And then in regards to project agreements, we did have our blessing on February 17th, as we had mentioned last month, and we had a verbal agreement with the MDA, and they are working on the ground lease and the easement. I know my consultants online will kill me, but Executive Director Yadao is confident that we should have everything in April to kind of have that all wrapped up. So we are very excited about that news. And then lastly, thank you, Senator Elefante, and of course, Senator Wakai, for your support and answering the questions about the billboards. No, we do not want it to look like Las Vegas. We definitely heard the community, and we know that that has something that has been brought up in the past. That is not our intention to have billboards looking like Las Vegas or Tokyo at all. And we are working closely with Stanford. You know, he is a local developer, so he understands we want to keep Hawaii, Hawaii. So this is a way for him to have sponsorships, but to, of course, make sure that we keep Hawaii as Hawaii that we see it. And I will end with that.
Okay, board members, any questions? Go ahead, Lawrence.
Yeah, as far as all the demo material, where is that being transported? Is that gonna go off island?
I believe some of it will be transported off island just because we are not able to dispose of it here. I don't have a specific answer unless David Harris wants to jump in and answer that. I'm going to put him on the spot.
Thanks, Samantha. Just waiting for my video to get going. We're waiting for specific information. We expect the majority of the steel product to be recycled, so probably be sent off island to be repurposed elsewhere. A lot of the concrete that is forming part of the demolition, we expect that to be crushed and reused on the site.
Okay, so as far as your transportation location, is it going to be traveling to the west side to like Camel Industrial Park, and you guys are putting it on the freeway, heading out that way?
I can't tell you the specifics of the transport plan, but we can get back and check with Hawaiian Dredging and come back next month.
Okay, thank you.
Jane?
I was wondering if the entities that actually vote to approve the plans for the brand new stadium have a hard and fast budget for it.
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Well, it brings to mind the rail project that, you know, we've had for so many years, and without a hard and fast budget, things can just keep blooming and escalating and going on and on. So that's why I was wondering if there is a hard and
Oh,
fast budget or.
yes, David can elaborate, but the state itself has put in $350 million, and that's all that we are contributing to. Everything else will be put onto the developer to contribute. So that is why he is looking for other ways to add to his funding to increase and generate additional funds.
But does he have a contract that he has to meet, whether he has those funds or not?
Yes, he does have minimums that he has to meet.
Okay.
David, I don't know if you want to explain a little bit more.
No, you've explained it well. As part of the kind of design development process that we're going through, the state has a firm and clear contractual commitment to the $350 million. No more, no less, except for the usual sort of compensation style events. That is the limit, and that goes directly towards the stadium project. We're going through the process right now to define exactly what the extra over scope of the stadium will be, and it is the developer's responsibility to ensure it can fund anything over and above the $350 million. The same applies to the infrastructure to support the commercial development. Developer is 100% on the hook for that. They will be looking through various financing sources and schemes for that, and all of the vertical development, the residential towers, any hotels, retail, all that sort of thing, that is 100% on the developer as well to sort out the financing for that.
Well, I asked that question because at one time they had proposed a not very large stadium, and then like with 200 and some odd thousand seats.
No,
No.
not 200,000 seats.
That's
a lot of seats.
Yeah.
That would be nice. It was 22,500.
Like 22,000.
There you go. There you go.
Yes.
And then it was raised to another
31,000.
more appropriate to our size needs.
Yeah.
Yes. So Stanford was able to secure additional funds on his end where he felt comfortable that he could produce 31,000 seats to the state of Hawaii. But that would be on him, and he would still need to meet all of our requirements for the state that we would uphold that for him to meet his contracts.
So that's on him to decide that still? How many seats?
Anything above the contract, he would have to, of course, discuss with us and show us his schematics.
Okay, so do I understand correctly that the private partnerships associated with the stadium will be in charge of maintaining the stadium once it's built?
Yes, absolutely. So a feature of this model is that there's one entity that overall, in overarching fashion, is responsible for the design, construction, maintenance, and operation of the new facility. And we're hopeful that operation and maintenance decisions can be made as they're going through the design process to ensure that it can be operated efficiently, derive maximum revenue, and also can be maintained efficiently as well. And so that maintenance related design decisions are factored in at the start, so we can avoid issues that we're all aware of, the challenges of the Core 10 steel when the initial Aloha Stadium was built. So that's why we're optimistic that maintenance will occur appropriately for this new facility.
Okay, well, you answered my next question then. So my last one, a Hawaii Star Advertiser columnist wrote in the last 10 days that actual contracts between the state and its development partners have been withheld as top secret and their terms never made public. And my question about that is, how does it benefit the public to withhold this information from the public?
Do you want me to?
Yes, you can switch that. Right? Employee.
I know. So the contracts itself, it's kind of a package deal. So we did sign the first two portions of the overall contract. It's a very complex portion of it. So there are still remaining portions as I mentioned, around the and things like that that have to be negotiated. So, so
You're breaking up. I can't hear your answer.
oh,
We just lost the video. Her end or our end? It's her end. I think it's your end, Samantha. If you could just turn off your video, maybe we'll just get your audio. Yeah.
sorry. I just wanted to make a question. I'm just kidding. So to answer your question, so it is a very complex contract that they are going through. We did finish the first two, so there still is two contracts that are actively being negotiated. So they do have to work through those two before they can make any of the documents public. So once those are completed, then that's when they're able to share it with the public to review.
Well, how does it
if that
benefit
answers.
like to keep that secret from them? I don't understand that part.
I mean, I would have to get back to you on the legal from our AG's office. But I do know, just because it is an active discussion and active negotiation, that it is something, because there are different elements of the contract itself that they do withhold all of it together. And then once it's complete is when that it gets turned over.
Yeah, if you could find out, I'd sure appreciate it, because that's the part that really doesn't make sense to me.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, Russell?
I have a question on bonding. You know, the state normally, for all of its contracts, require a performance bond to assure completion. What is the extent or amount of the contract, bonding contract, Mr. Carr is going to be able to provide, and what is the total contract price? So for example, if it's 800 million, usually 800 million is bonded. So how much is Stadium Authority negotiating for the contract bonding?
So the bonding, the contract does talk about bonding. At the moment, they've provided bonds for the demolition work, which is in place as part of the notice to proceed for construction. They'll need to provide appropriate payment and performance bonds for the construction work. I believe it's the total value. I would need to check in more detail. There's several different ways in which they can bond the project or provide construction security for the project. Sorry, be more accurate.
Okay, any other questions, comments, board members? All right, hey Samantha, I have one little nitpick here. And normally I would do this in private, but I'm going to do it in public.
Okay.
Your kickoff ceremony that you recently had, there was no invite extended to this board to attend that ceremony.
You're
Why?
talking the blessing?
Yeah.
I did send you an email. Did you not get it?
I did not get it.
Oh, I am so sorry. I sent it, and I think I did a follow-up. Do I not have your correct email?
No, you have my correct email. Maybe
Okay.
I didn't see it.
I did send it twice, and I apologize for not calling you. And
Yeah.
and I know I did send it to
Okay,
you
well, if
and
I got it and then I'll stand corrected.
I apologize. I didn't call you. Yes.
Yeah, so I'll stand corrected if I got it. You didn't get it? No? Curtis, did you see it?
You know what, Steve? I just sent it to you. I didn't send it to the other board members because I don't
Oh,
have their
okay.
emails. I only have your email. So
Oh,
that
okay.
be my fault that I didn't
No,
send it to anyone.
no, it's probably my fault then. Okay,
I
then
apologize.
No, it's
But you guys will all
it's been a crazy week or a couple weeks for me. So
but
it's
you know we will have like 4 more blessings that you are all invited to.
okay, good. Because I was going to
Yes.
say I wanted you to extend that invite to my entire board because
Absolutely.
this entire
Absolutely.
board over the years has worked so hard to make this thing happen.
Absolutely. And you
So,
know,
yeah.
I will send you an email offline because we actually want to also give you our Aloha Stadium Aloha shirts that have been kind of the new hot thing to do. So I will email you later.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. Yeah. If you ever send me an email, just make sure Curtis is on it. He's like literally
Curtis?
like
Okay.
when it comes to this stuff. So like,
Okay.
I don't know what I would do without him, honestly. Like he keeps me straight.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay.
That's my fault. It was just you.
No, it's my fault. It's my fault. I'm sure. I'm absolutely sure it's my fault. So, okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. Community members. No, you do. Okay. Go ahead, Russell. One more. Oh. Curtis. Check for us. Okay. Curtis will check for us, Russell. Thank you for keeping us straight, Russell. I don't mind you raining on our parade, by the way. It's okay. Little rain doesn't hurt anybody. Okay. Community members, anything for the stadium? Okay, awesome. All right. Thank you guys so much. Samantha, thank you. I will check my email, but I'm pretty positive you probably sent it and I just didn't see it or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I'm sure you did. It's my fault. I know it is. All right. Oahu Community Correctional Center, OCCC.
Yes, we're here. Share my screen real quick. Okay, good evening, Chair Wood, members of the board, and members of the community. I'm Chris Gadash from AHL on behalf of the design team for the new Oahu Jail. I'm joined by Warden Shell tonight from DCR. I'll be giving a quick update on the new Oahu Jail project. First off, we'll go briefly through just some of the legislation currently in session that we are tracking. This includes both new bills and some carryovers. First up is regarding pretrial release. So this is to include certain factors when considering bail and based on the defendant's financial ability to afford and pay the bail. House Bill 1628 and Senate Bill 2688 regarding compassionate release. This calls for certain ill or seriously dilapidated incarcerated persons to be considered for compassionate release. House Bill 2044 and House Bill 2356 regarding offender reentry. This is pretty neat. It'll expand programming and training for comprehensive offender reentry programs. And this second House bill will provide a certificate of completion of the offender's rehabilitation. Senate Bill 3038 is regarding incarcerated persons. This establishes a 5-year pilot program which the employee will pay the incarcerated individuals with fewer than 5 years left on their sentence minimum wages. And then Senate Bill 2381 amends certain circumstances regarding restrictive housing. Senate Bill 1612. This
Hold on.
requires.
Can I just stop you for a second? How
Yep.
many of these are we going to go through?
That's it. 2 more slides.
Okay. We're good then. Okay, let's go.
Yep, I made it shorter this time. So this fitness House Senate Bill 1612 is starting a 5-year fitness pilot program for one county, and then House Bill 677 and Senate Bill 224 regarding identification will help attain inmates their civil identification, birth certificate, social security cards at the release. And then the last slide for this, House Bill 2287 and Senate Bill 3106 provides counseling for correctional workers, additional counseling. And then House Bill 1197, this is one of the carryover ones. This will help utilize student education partnerships to increase the amount of mental health providers in the correctional facility. These next few slides were shown last month. However, I wanted to show again and highlight where we're at in our project. So this is the current proposed site at the animal quarantine station, highlighted in the red. And this is the proposed site plan. The main entrance for the new Wahoo Jail is from Lava Valley Street, just past the highway overpass. The parking lot to the west will be shared with visitors to the jail and the animal quarantine station. The parking lot to the east at the center of the site is specific for jail staff. There will be required ADA and EV parking for both visitor and staff lots. Private
This
parking.
hasn't changed. This hasn't changed, right?
Correct.
It's still the same
It's
as
still,
always
it's still
been.
being updated by the team,
Yeah.
further developed, but yes.
Okay, so this hasn't changed from like a year
Last
ago.
month. The layout has slightly changed.
What?
To fit more vehicles, and then there was the addition
Okay.
of
Okay.
judge parking,
Okay.
things like that.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. We can move on.
Yep. And next up, these where we're at with our conceptual renderings. This is the front facade, the approach of the building from Lava Valley Street. This would be the view from the staff parking lot, also the front facade entrance. And the view coming in from the existing animal quarantine entrance for the highway overpass.
Can't wait to move in. Looks great.
Yeah. This is, again, the entrance view. So the main visitors would be coming in from the right side of the screen, and then the jail staff would be coming in just below the screen to the entrance. So there's development in this site. We'll provide further updates as those get released. And these are just some of the explorations into the material. Focus on local material as well as prefabricated materials. Sorry, this is supposed to start our February 2026 public outreach calendar. Noted in the dark green is the ʻAiea Community Association meeting. The brown is the Oversight Commission meeting. Light blue is the ʻAiea Neighborhood Board meeting. And in the yellow is when we attended the ACA, American Correctional Association conference. Follow up from our national publications. Last time we reported a publication through the Justice Design News, and also follow up from our 2025 6 projects to watch out for. We were also recently published online at the Correctional News, so please go check those links out. And then again, we also like to highlight our P3 procurement slide, which does note the procurement methods that provides maintenance over a predetermined concession period where the developer hands over a well-maintained facility at the end of their contract. And then, of course, our master schedule, and noted in the red dot, is generally where we're at. And that is it for our updates. If you haven't already, please sign up for our newsletter. You can also check out our webpage. We updated our Contact Us web link to be more user-friendly for those that would like to do business, media, as well as those just generally interested in the project. I can take any questions.
So I know I was being glib during your presentation, but I just recently did a podcast with KHON, like a video podcast that they do on KHON Plus, and this is one of the topics I talked about on that podcast was the new OCCC and what it means to not only this community but to Oahu and overall, and why it is needed and the importance of it. So hopefully when they post that, which is soon, you guys can take a look at that and see what I said about it. So okay.
Definitely.
All right. With that, board members, any questions for OCCC? Lawrence.
You know that incident that happened with that work-released inmate, is that jail in Halawa gonna be operating the same and doing that work release program?
Director
I'd like
Ward.
to handle that
Director
one.
Ward.
Yeah, let me handle that one. So The transition center that we decided not to move to Halava will have the transition people in it. The jail that we're going to build in Halava Valley will not have that with it. We decided to, as you guys may have recalled from a couple of months ago, we have taken away the transition center and left it in Kalihi, so that the jail that we're looking at building in the renderings that you just saw will not have that work furlough piece with it.
Okay, thank you. Second question. You know, as far as one of the bills you guys had, the bail is based on ability to pay. So does that mean if I don't have any assets and I commit a crime, I can just walk out the door and not face any repercussion until
Well, Lawrence, you're confusing corrections with the courts. We don't set bails. We have nothing to do with that bail setting. We don't have a stance one way or another on that. That is for the courts and the legislature to decide. The Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation does not take a stance.
That'd be a better question for like Senator Alfonso.
Okay, no, because you guys presented that in your slides. That's why I'm asking the question. So if you guys have no,
Yeah, we're just making you aware. We're just making you aware of what's out there. We're not saying good or bad, yay or nay. We're letting you know what the legislature is considering that may affect corrections.
okay, thank you.
I think what they're showing us based on the bail from size. They have more lenient bail, right? They don't have to have such a large. They're presenting during the slide. They should have documentation. Fair. You know what? Write it down and pass up Senator Alfonso. Okay, Jane.
In addition to the work furlough guide that board member Higa was just talking about, seems to me like there was another one that occurred in the last 6 months to a year. Are y'all going to take a look at how you accept people for that program?
We actually are in the process right now of statewide looking at the program and deciding whether we need to bolster some things, including maybe some different entry processes. We're basically looking at it from this standpoint because we just had this happen. It was a horrible thing. We want to look at it and make sure that we're doing everything we possibly can to keep the community safe. So we actually have been in meetings for the last 2 days on whether we need to revamp, change some things, tweak some things. We're looking at the whole process. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Thank you. Community members, anything for OCCC?
Yep.
Oh, ma'am, go ahead.
The bills that you posted on your slides, did that pass? Because I have a concern about compassionate release. Now, that was a choice that these arrestees made. You do the crime, you do the time. Sorry, you're sick. Go to infirmary. And are the victims going to be play a part in their compassionate release? I think that's pretty valid.
Well, so it's still going.
Again, it's still going. I'm sorry, Chris. You want to answer that one?
No, you can go.
Okay, so this stuff is the stuff that is before the legislature right now. And again, these are not things that we are necessarily taking a stance on for or against. These are things that were introduced as bills to the legislature. If you have concerns about it, by all means, talk to your legislators, talk to your representatives, talk to your senators, let them know your concerns. I will tell you that compassionate release is, generally speaking, something that is end of life when we look at it. We have people who are basically in the hospital and we know they're not going to survive. That's where we tend to look at compassionate release, but we don't have a mechanism to make that happen.
Yeah, I have no compassion.
So are these people that are are these people in hospice? Like a hospice situation?
Well,
where
it
they're-
just depends. I haven't looked at the bill enough to really speak to it. Chair Woods, I am not going to tell you that I'm an expert on it. What I can tell you is that here at OCCC, we've had several inmates in the last 6 months to a year, and I would say by several, I mean 3 to 5, who have gone into hospice care. But we still have to provide, even though they're hooked up to machines, they're not likely to make it at all. And we're still providing security staff at the hospital to watch them, even though they're in literally a coma.
Yeah, I've been in your
I've been in
infirmary.
your infirmary.
And it's
Used
not
to
very
it, yeah.
big. I
It's
think
not
you
very
only have
big.
like what,
I think
5
you only
beds in there or something
5
like that.
beds there or something like that. Working on it, where we're actually making progress towards turning a whole unit into an infirmary and long-term care bed facility.
Okay. Okay.
But
also
when they
another
need
question.
hospitalization care at the end of life, when they need hospitalization,
Okay.
that's all we can do.
Okay. Russell, you were gonna say something real
We're
quick?
gonna maybe ask if the public safety can send over the list of bills to the chair. Maybe you can circulate to whoever might be interested in the community. Because one way to track it is you go on the legislative website with the bill number.
Mm.
You can actually testify, submit testimony.
Yeah, you can put written testimony in there. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
do
from
have
a
another question.
perspective, these guys are just reporting what's out there.
Yeah.
True. We're gonna stop it at the legislature. You submit testimony
Yeah.
opposition, and the legislature, at least our office, I work for a legislator, we actually go through the testimony.
I would actually take one of these brochures, like Brandon Elefante's right here. You guys' his email address on there or something like that, and ask him about that.
I do have another question.
Yeah.
Regarding the building of the new jail facility, when a prisoner is released, are they just doors open and they walk out? Or are you folks going to provide a ride, or do they walk to the bus stop? Because truth be told, right across the street is Halawa District Park with a lot of children and a lot of activities. That is my concern for the community.
I believe that Director Johnson addressed this a few meetings ago. We are willing to provide transport down to the main transportation hub, which would be in Kalihi, for the releases that we have from the jail. However, most people who are in jail are picked up by either by the parole and probation officer, people who are in the community who run programming, or their families. So those people would still pick up at the jail. But if we're going to release somebody just because it's their time to get out, we would take them down to the transit center, where literally right where the jail is now.
Thank you.
Okay, Paul.
Yeah, I have a question about responsibility. When a prisoner is released or is put on work furlough, who takes responsibility? Who accepts the liability if a disaster happens? You know, if a doctor releases a patient from the hospital and a disaster happens, the doctor gets sued. It seems like in our correctional facility, just like with this recent thing, it's like, okay, the guy goes out and kills one person and puts another person in the intensive care unit, and we just say, oh, shoots, brah, better luck next time. We need to have someone take responsibility and have the liability of, if they make an incorrect judgment, that there are penalties.
Well, I'm not really sure how to answer that. The Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation still has them under their authority, so I guess we would have the liability for that. However, you are assuming that somehow I had some pre-existing knowledge that this guy was going to go out and kill people. Okay, that's not necessarily a fair thing. We do our best to keep things safe. It does not mean that mistakes can't be made or that bad people can get out of jail, but bad people can do crimes without coming to.
Yeah, but the correctional department is the one that releases them. So in order to prevent a disaster from happening, don't release them.
Okay, let's move on.
I understand what your take on it is.
Let's move on. Okay, community members, I think have said their piece. Okay, we're gonna move on. It's already 9:10. I thought we were gonna finish up by 9. Clearly we didn't. Okay, Hawaiian Electric. Kurt. Nothing. Too bad, because he really helped us out with the electric, right? Paul? Like he did a good job on that. Oh, did he? Okay, well, hey, 12 inches. I mean, come on. It's better than nothing, right? Okay. At least he looked into it. Okay. Come on. Yes. Okay. 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 All right. Okay. Moving on. Community concerns from residents outside of everything else we've addressed from residents tonight. Okay. Nothing heard. All right. Moving into board business, filling a one vacant at-large seat. I know somebody was going to apply tonight. Who? But you got to get up and say something.
Just say your name.
Yeah, and you got to give an address and like an ID card and stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
she's good.
You already verified her?
I can vouch for her.
All right. All right. Does she have to say a pledge of allegiance or something like that or something?
Just introduce her name.
Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. You got to recite the first article of the Constitution of the United States.
My name is Janella Kiuna. However, everyone calls me Mana, like Manapua. Okay.
Okay. We can do that,
So,
Mana.
For me, I want to be the voice of the community,
Nice. We like that.
The concerns I bring up basically reflects the community.
Good. Okay. Thank you. All right. Anybody else got any comments, questions, concerns? We got a second.
There's a nomination by. Oh, Glenn.
Okay. Huh?
Nomination.
There's nominations, no seconds.
Okay, so a quick roll call vote for Mana. If there are no other nominations, the floor has closed for nominations.
Okay.
Just say Mana if you would like to vote for Mana. Okay, Anderson. She just leave.
Bathroom.
Okay. Arakaki's absent. Ka'alam.
Yes. Okay.
For Mana.
Yeah, I'm
Yes.
digging her chair and her headphones.
Clark
It's like
is
Nancy
absent.
chair and headphones.
Conley.
Mana.
I know.
Ferguson.
Like she's playing like Fortnite right now or something.
No, I'm not.
Fitch. Mana. Okay. Glenn. Higa. Imamura Uru is absent. Maeda.
Mana.
Mizusawa. Suji. And Wood.
Mana.
Okay. Chair with 10 votes for Mana. Mana is appointed as a board member of the ʻAiea Neighborhood Board.
Sweet. Congratulations. Welcome to the board. Condolences. Okay. Yeah, we gotta call recess. So continue. You gonna swear in while we do the rest of it?
I'll do that.
Okay. All right. While he's doing that, we're gonna go move on to the approval of the regular minutes for Tuesday, February 10th, 2026. All right. Anybody have any objections to the approval of the regular meeting minutes for Tuesday, February 10th, 2026? No objections heard? No objections heard? Okay. Approval of the regular meeting minutes for Tuesday, February 10th, 2026 is passed. All right, moving on. Discussion and vote on requesting the city's Department of Transportation Services, DTS, to install no parking signage or curb markings to improve awareness of Act 171, prohibiting street parking with 20 feet on each side of any crosswalk or intersection. We're going to need him to do the slide. So we're going to wait on this one until that happens. So we're going to go in recess before we move into that. Yes. No, just because the lights are out. Yeah, and they're going to be out this month, and then they're going to go, we're going to fix them by next. you doing? Lights. Oh, please, please. Oh, and then there, sorry, there is a second. If you prefer to sit there. Actually, you can even sit, but it's easier. No, I got it. Yeah, we're in recess right now. Yeah, push the slide. Saved. Nice. Right? Good. Yeah, that's it. Okay. We're back. Okay, sworn in? Yes. Okay. But she doesn't want to sit. She doesn't want to sit up here. All right, next meeting, you're sitting up here though. There's not, I'll let, okay.
Where's Bill Clark's retired, right?
Yeah, Bill Clark is, he's the deputy chief. And he sits up here, just let you know. He's not here tonight, but he's always here. So if he, deputy chief can sit up here, you can sit up here. Okay, all right, we're out of recess now? Okay. 9:18, out of recess. Okay. All right, the floor is yours. Let's do this.
Okay, the cars parked on Ka'ahele Street near the entrance and exit of Kekiali'i Street create a blind spot and is a traffic safety concern. So we contacted the Department of Transportation Services, and they provided us with a map, survey, and instructions on how to proceed to install a parking restriction. The Department of Transportation Services surveyed the area and completed the map, as you see on the screen. The map indicates the residents who need to provide the response to the change in parking restrictions.
And what is their recommendation? The one in red? Is there?
Wait.
I'm trying to read the map, so I don't understand what you're.
So you see all the yellow?
Okay,
The
yeah.
yellow with the numbers?
Yeah.
Those are the addresses that the Department of Transportation identified that they would have to need to complete the survey to.
And they did.
agree-
You
yeah,
guys got that done.
Yeah.
But where are they putting the signage at?
okay, the sign, so the Department of Transportation also decided, not us, on where to put the signs and how far away from the intersection the sign should be placed.
And that's in the red.
And that's the red, exactly.
Okay, got
Okay.
it. Okay.
So 7 out of the 8 residents signed in favor of the
Okay.
parking restrictions. The 8th one, we tried 4 times to go to their house, no response, and the neighbors said that they don't respond. So I think that house is vacant.
Okay. Ghosts
Okay.
live there.
The
Got it.
Department of Transportation also provided us, with the distance. We didn't say it. The Department of Transportation said the distance.
And that's 60 feet and 55 feet.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, so we are requesting the ʻAiea Neighborhood Board's support to refer the parking restriction survey to the Department of Transportation Services for the Department of Transportation Services review and implementation decision.
Well, it's my understanding that they're asking for our approval as well, correct? Department of Transportation Services,
Your support,
our support for this.
Correct, your support.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So, okay. Thank you for that. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and open the floor for discussion to the board. Any discussions on this matter? Board members? Russell?
Okay, you see where they're gonna put the signs? The cars are parked on Ka'ahele Street. like close by the curb and further down.
It was like, okay. Okay. Oh, gotcha. So they're parking like along this way and this way.
Yes, on both sides, up and down. Yeah, oh yeah, because they have trucks, they
Yeah.
have SUVs and van. So when they park, in a row, it's really hard to get out.
I would like to see some communication from the Department of Transportation justifying this, because as I mentioned last month meeting, there are a lot of intersections that have blind spots, like where Mana and I live. And if this is going to be a standard for your neighborhood, it might be a standard for all the other neighborhoods. So I'd like to see their justification for saying why your circumstance may be different than everybody else's circumstance.
I think what it is that we requested their help, and this is what their help is.
Yeah,
So it's up to.
I'd like to see though their response to your request to see. I'd like to
That's-
see in
that's
writing.
their response right there.
No, that's a drawing. That's not a response.
We also have this paper that says, it tells us the directions.
I'd still like to see something from the Department of Transportation, not a petition.
Can I make a comment?
Did they say why? Did they say why they needed to set it so far back off?
I sent in a whole bunch of photos of the street and cars parked and everything. And that was what they recommended.
Did they say why they recommended that? Sightlines?
They didn't say why. I assume it's because they looked at the curvature of the road and, the intersection and everything, and that's what they came up with. Yeah.
I think they didn't have this problem prior to having a rehab house on their street. So what they explained to me was the vans and the utility trucks that that supports the rehab place is actually blocking their view as far as safety. So I think that was the problem.
Yeah, it's a business of 24 free shifts. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I mentioned this before. They're operating a business in a residential area. And as far as a concern with another intersection, the people living at a different intersection would also approach Department of Transportation Service and voice their concern, and they could get the same thing. So it's not a one-off where you're gonna do this for this particular intersection and then say, okay, everybody, we're gonna do it for. It's not like that. So if the other residents at a different intersection have a concern, they could in turn approach Department of Transportation for the same thing.
Russell, sorry, they can't hear you online. So we need to, yeah.
No, I was just saying that there's a law that was passed. I think you might have circulated that or someone circulated that applies to crosswalks and intersections specifically. But I gotta say, living in this community, it's more than just crosswalks and intersections. It's anything that you gotta pull out on the street and people are parked up and down. It blocks visibility and you gotta, I have had to risk my life just entering that. But I wasn't gonna wait around all day. I had to get out. I had to go to work or whatever else. So
I know what they're talking about. I've been up on their street. I went up there. They kind of live like on a little bit of an old farm. They have a little bit of a slope and that cross street's up here. So like there's like trucks up here. It is a hard sight lane. I know what they're talking about. Any other questions, comments? We want to do a roll call vote on this?
Yes, is there a motion? And actually on the agenda, it says discussion and vote on requesting the city's Department of Transportation Services. No, I'll say it, to install no parking signage or curb markings to improve awareness of Act 171, prohibiting street parking with 20 feet on each side of any crosswalk or intersection. Now, the vote that came last month was specifically for KKLE Street and Kahele Street, but with this motion, it would cover all of ʻAiea. And we would include the request from the residents for the mayor's report next month.
Can we modify that and not say all
Sure.
night?
Yeah, can we just do the motion last month then?
Yeah.
I would prefer not.
If you would like the DTS to investigate and to come back. Okay. Okay, that's fine. If the board wants to do that, we'll send the request. I don't think you have the right agenda. This is a motion regarding Act 171, prohibiting street parking with 20 feet on each side of the crosswalk.
And I still don't see a reason why we can't get communication from the Department of Transportation justifying their 60 feet and 55 feet. I mean, we just heard them say, well, that's what we wanted, and we had a petition. I'd like to see their justification, so that way we can have an intelligent vote.
Oh, excuse me.
I don't think I want to wait until it's an accident.
Actually, we did not tell the Department of Services how much feet to do. It was the Department of Transportation after they did their survey. They determined that. Yeah, they did the map and everything.
Chair, do you want to limit it to maybe I have the wrong agenda, maybe the prior one, but it does say recommend restricted parking area at corners of
Yeah, the prior one.
Keikali and Kahele, specifically mentioning those.
I got the latest one that's now pointing. Yeah, you got the 20 feet one?
So the motion last month failed on a vote of 6 aye votes, 0 nay votes, and 3 abstentions. So you would like a motion to reconsider that motion? Okay. Moved by Chair Wood, seconded by Member Higa. Okay. No, there was no motion earlier. Would you like a roll call vote? Okay. Anderson. Arakaki. Ka'alam. Ka'alam? Sorry, we can't hear you. Clark. Ka'alam abstains.
Yes.
Clark absent. Conley.
Abstain.
Ferguson.
Abstain.
Fitch. Aye. Glenn. Nay. Higa. Imamura Uru absent. Maeda.
Abstain.
Mizusawa. Tsuji. Kiyuna. Wood. Chair, you have 7 aye votes, 1 nay vote, 4 abstentions. The motion does not carry.
Hey, sorry, guys. That's the last time I'll be up for vote. What's that? The letter? It won't matter. Won't Okay, thank you. All right, okay, moving on. All right, the next regular meeting will be scheduled for Tuesday, April 14th, 2026 at 7 p.m. at ʻAiea Public Library and online via WebEx. Sign up for agenda notices and minutes via email at Honolulu. And board members can signature. No one say the rebroadcast on Lolo channel board. Okay, with that, meeting's adjourned. Again, 9:30.